So my life has changed drastically in the last few months, and it has been insane to see all of these things that are happening. And honestly, I just really wanted to come on here and talk about the biggest shift that I have noticed, which has been in my morning routine and just kind of updating how I go about my morning routine, but more than that, what I do to slow down in the morning instead of rushing and what that does to our cortisol levels. So we're going to go over what is cortisol, why does it matter? And then obviously all of the tangible steps that you can take to do a low cortisol morning routine. And I think you guys are just going to love it. I think there's a lot of really tangible information here, practical steps, and I love an episode all about that. We had one of our best episodes ever with the cycle syncing one. And so it's just really getting me back in my passion of sharing like true tangible steps of what we can do to just better our lives from a holistic standpoint. So, without further ado, let's go. Today, we're drinking a cold brew, a decaf cold brew, but still a cold brew. And we're going to get into the effects of caffeine actually in this episode, which I am stoked about. And also the fact that it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Again, we're going to get into all of these details later, but we have a cold brew today. It is decaf and it is stunning. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify video, she's gorgeous. But anyways, moving on. Couple updates for you guys. Let's see, what do we have going on? I have perfected my morning routine. I'm so excited about it. It's something that I honestly look forward to every single night when I go to bed. I'm like genuinely excited for my morning routine. And I love every second of it. And it's all about lowering my cortisol levels, which fascinates me because I never knew that was something that I needed to do in the past or something I needed to focus on. So I never came with that approach. And since I've shifted my approach to my morning routine, I have noticed the biggest difference ever. It's honestly incredible. So, with that being said, that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. And there's other shifts that I've made throughout like aspects of my life that have like seriously just impacted me so much in the last couple of weeks. And I'm going to say for the past 6 weeks ish, I have just really gotten focused on my health again, gotten really, really into what does it look like for my body to be healthy, for my mind to be healthy, and then how does that translate into my relationships? How does that translate into my relationship with God? How am I honoring him through how I'm taking care of my body and my mind? And with all that being said, it's just been so fun to kind of go on this journey and get so deep with all these things. I'm definitely in a motivated, inspired era right now, which is my favorite place to be. And ultimately, motivation, inspiration, I think it's a skill. I don't think that it's something that comes and goes and you can't rely on it, because I think it is a skill that you can actually craft and hone. I'm currently reading the book right now. It's called Faster, Smarter, Better. And it talks about this. It talks about basically just how to be more productive, how to get more out of your day, how to do all the things that you want to do and do them well. But more than that, it talks about what motivation is. And truthfully, like as a doctor or a scientist, whatever he explains that motivation is a skill that we need to hone. And I love that idea. I love that concept because sometimes it can feel a little slippery. Like the idea of motivation can feel oily because it slips through your fingers. And when it's, doing what it's supposed to, it's great. But then when you don't have it, you're just kind of stuck. But that's not the case at all. So I am so excited about this idea, this mindset that I've really entered, that I'm crafting a skill when I'm inspired. And when I'm not inspired, I can actually gain that inspiration back. And I think if you're listening to this podcast, you're kind of in a similar boat where even if you're in a season of inspiration or you're not, you're actively trying to hone that skill to gain more clarity. And I'm so proud of you for that because it shows and it's really cool. I love to see you better in your life. So let's talk all about a low cortisol morning. Okay. So first of all, what is cortisol? This is something that I've heard a lot of people talk about, whether it's a doctor, whether it's like whoever it is. I hear people talking about this, and I knew it was something to kind of pay attention to, but I didn't know exactly why I was paying attention to it. So let me break it down. Again, did a lot of research on this, a lot of great feedback, and just kind of getting to chat with some like professionals about this has been so fascinating. So, anyways, cortisol is your stress hormone, okay? So the stress hormone is obviously vital to your life because stress has positive implications. It can. I know that word stress, it just is heavy and it's gross, and we all have been stressed out. And never once have we looked at a stressed out point and been like, ha, now that was amazing. That was incredible. I love that experience. But at the same time, that stress hormone is what kind of keeps us alive in a lot of ways because it's what also instigates fight, flight, or freeze in us. It's what allows us to put pressure on ourselves to keep moving going forward. And it also is where a lot of people thrive in their decision making. Like some people are just really, really strong at making decisions when they're stressed out. So with that being said, it's a vital thing. It's a good thing. We were designed to have this stress hormone for a reason. But at the same time, there's a lot of complications with this. There's a lot of negative implications that we need to address, right? So cortisol in itself, it's meant to spike in times of like panic, fear, overwhelmed feelings, anytime in emotion, grief, things like that. Our cortisol is going to spike when we're going through something like that. But we're not meant to live in a constant state of cortisol being raised, okay? Because when our cortisol is constantly raised, that means that there is increased sugar in our blood, that's glucose, in our bloodstream, okay? And this will cause intense headaches, irritability, high blood pressure. It can literally cause your heart to have problems. It can halt your digestion. And also, it can lead to extreme fatigue because your body is constantly in the state of, can I survive this? Do I need to fight here? Do I need to flee? Should I just freeze and lock up and not do anything? Your body's constantly in this state when you have raised cortisol, okay? Now, raised cortisol comes from a lot of different things that we actually partake in literally every single day. So, when you have a ton of sugar, it's obviously going to raise your blood sugar. And then the next thing you know, your cortisol spikes. Similarly, whenever you wake up to a blaring alarm clock where it's like beep, 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 it sends your body into panic mode and you wake up with a giant spike of cortisol. That's how you're waking yourself up. Not the healthiest, just truthfully. It's not the healthiest, okay? And when you wake up and the first thing you're doing is turning on your phone, interacting with blue light, and then going even further and being responsive to messages that you receive throughout the night, whether that's emails, whether that's text messages, or even just social media, the first thing you're doing during your day is putting yourself in a responsive state. And that's just damaging because your cortisol spikes. And when your cortisol spikes that early in the morning, it's hard to balance out your hormones the rest of the day. And then even going a step further, if the first I like food, nourishment you're receiving is a cup of coffee. And trust me, I love a morning cup of coffee. It's so sweet. But the first thing you're putting in your body is caffeine. Do you know what caffeine does to your body? It spikes your cortisol. Okay. So you're actively putting your body into this stressed out, just overall position and posture. And it's really hard to undo that then the rest of your day. Okay. So you're going to feel more anxious. You're going to feel less like more out of control of things. You're going to feel like everything you do is a response rather than taking a step forward. And it's just it's a negative place to be. And I think for me personally, this is where I would get so fatigued because I was constantly in survival mode. I was constantly going, waking up and doing what I had to do to make it through the day rather than waking up and just claiming the day as my own and doing what I needed to do for either my enjoyment or for my own productivity or whatever I needed in that day. So this shift, I knew I needed it. I knew that waking up and the first thing I was doing was making a cup of coffee. And then I would drink my cup of coffee while scrolling on my phone, answering emails, answering DMs, text messages, all of that. And then I would feel really like shaky. I think that's the best way to describe it. Not that I was like physically shaking, but I just felt unsturdy throughout my day. And it was kind of like I had to just try to keep in stride with the pace that I had set that morning. And even when I would work out in the morning, it never felt like something that I was doing that was grounded. It always felt like I was doing it in response. So, with all that being said, I wanted to adjust and do more research. Why was I feeling shaky? Why was this leading to really like intense, anxious thoughts throughout my day? Like to the point where I would have a conversation with someone and I was freaking out after a conversation. And I was just sitting there going, oh my gosh, they think you're stupid. They think you're dumb. Why would you have said that? You know, they have no respect for you. And honestly, they shouldn't respect you because of just the way you handled that. And just that was my attitude throughout the day, but it was all stemming from how my morning was going. Okay. And more than that, I hated waking up in the morning. I did. I would wake up and I would just feel like, oh, here we go again. And that's so depressing. That is not the way that you want to approach your days. And there was, like I said, a lot of shifts have happened in the last month for me, for my health and my overall just like well being. And I've, adjusted priorities, but this has been really big for me is adjusting to a low cortisol morning. So I want to discuss now with you what this actually looks like. How do you create a low cortisol morning? What does this consist of? What are small adjustments you can make to get to this level? Okay. So let's just start walking through the steps. Okay. First of all, let's talk about what we're consuming. So as far as nourishing our body, it is really important to make sure what we're doing is rehydrating after a night of sleep. Okay. So our body, we're made up of like, oh gosh, I should have looked up the stat, but like 90% water. Like it's insane. We're almost all water. And when you sleep, let's say you're getting the correct amount of like 8 hours of sleep each night, you're like literally becoming dehydrated during that sleep. And so when you wake up, you need to rehydrate. So, easy way to do this, keep water next to your bed, or for me, next to my alarm clock, which is across the room. And the first thing that you're really going to do is try to drink water. Try to put water in your body, try to rehydrate right away. And not that you're like chugging and putting like all of this, like, oh my gosh, I'm so dehydrated. Like, you're just going to drink your water. Okay. It's not that deep. Drink your water in the morning. And this helps because it also does not make me feel like I need the ritual of coffee right away. However, with that being said, I love a morning beverage, especially when it's cold. And as we're coming into the colder months, that's just warm and cozy and it's just relaxing to me. And again, that's what we're trying to do, but you don't want to be putting caffeine. So I will do a hot water with a like slice of lemon and local honey in it. And I use local honey because it's really good for you to be eating honey that has been pollinated by bees who are in the area and like with the plants that are near you. Okay. So like instead of getting Hawaii that or like Hawaii honey that's like flown in from Hawaii, sure, where the bees are pollinating plants that are nothing like the plants in your area. It's just a lot better for you. It helps your system, it helps you adjust to your area, and also you still get the ritual of drinking a nice warm beverage in the morning as you're slowly waking up instead of just forcing yourself up. The next thing is a protein breakfast when it comes to nourishment. This has been really hard for me, but something that I have noticed a really, really big difference in. Okay. And truthfully, I have never enjoyed meat ever, really at all. Like the idea of meatloaf actually kind of makes me want to like cry. And for a lot of reasons, for a lot of reasons. I mean, there were cows on my grandpa's farm and I loved the cows and then I found out I was eating a cow and that was painful. But even further than that, I just don't like the flavor of meat. However, I have noticed a extreme difference now that I'm prioritizing protein in my diet more. A big reason why I do this is because my husband really just encourages me a lot to get my protein intake, but that doesn't mean I'm sitting down with a steak, right? Like I'm still not eating steak, But what I am doing is I'm trying to eat eggs. I'm trying to drink some protein shakes. I'm not really like a bacon person, but I will do either chicken or turkey sausage with my eggs in the morning if I feel like I need an extra boost of protein. So there's multiple ways that you can get protein in your breakfast, but having a protein-based breakfast has been huge for me. I feel so much more nourished and like satisfied after my meal versus still feeling hungry and like I just want to eat and eat and eat throughout the rest of the day. It just sets you off with a really good um, system for the rest of the day of just feeling nourished. And then more than that, it helps your cortisol levels because you're not spiking with a whole bunch of sugar. So let's say you sit down with a bowl of Cheerios. Cheerios are great, right? They say like they lower your cholesterol and all that, full of sugar, full of sugar. Even some protein powders, full of sugar. So just like really getting gritty about making your decisions on food, like really trying to figure out, okay, what is a good source of protein? What is a natural source of protein? Eggs are great. Eggs are so great. You're not necessarily sitting down with meat and feeling really gross, but you're still getting good protein, okay? The next one, as I alluded to when I was talking about my cold brew, it is so, so important to not have caffeine within the first 90 minutes of waking up. Okay. That first 90 minutes, your body's adjusting, your hormones are regulating for the day, your body is getting rehydrated, your stomach is processing the protein you just ate. This is a time where you should not be adding caffeine to the system. And if you feel like you have to rely on caffeine in order to stay awake, what you're doing is your body has gotten accustomed to a drug. Like that's what caffeine is, and that's just truthful. And don't get me wrong, I still do it. Like I'm not saying it's bad, but you shouldn't need caffeine in order to function. That's your body just not able to do its own capabilities, what it was made to do, because it's relying on an outside source. And you don't want that. You don't want that at all. So try to push back as far as you can, all the way up to 90 minutes. I have switched to as much decaf as I possibly can or matcha. I'm a big, big fan of matcha now. It took me a while to get used to the flavor, but once I started to really enjoy the flavor, I just find that matcha has a slow release caffeine. So instead of hitting your system all at once and spiking and making your cortisol levels go all over the place, what it really does is allows your body to slowly get energy, and that helps cortisol levels a lot. So switching to matcha, switching to a tea, or doing decaf coffee will also really, really help you. Okay. So that's a little bit about like the nourishment side of things. I want to talk about movement now. Okay. So for low cortisol, the first thing that when you read the 5 a.m. club, it says the first thing you need to go do is like move your body, do like an impact workout, go do some like running, move your body in an intense way, like a HIIT workout. And while there's that will wake you up, don't get me wrong, that will wake you up. But the problem is it's putting your body in that same stressed mode. Is when the first thing you're doing when you wake up is an intense impact workout, you're no longer able to have that slow wake up where everything's regulating in your body, everything's getting back to normal. You're putting your body back into survival mode. So, yes, you'll get energy from it, but not energy that is consistent throughout the day and not energy that is truthfully good for your mental health or your body in the long run. So, I suggest when you wake up, allowing yourself a few minutes. So for me, I start with a Bible study. That's my way of prioritizing my relationship with God if it's the first thing I do in the morning. So I'll wake up and I will do my Bible study, and then I will go on a 2-mile walk. And this time it's my body waking up, okay? So it's my body beginning to move some of the lactic acids from my workouts. It's beginning to awaken some of my muscles. I'll swing my arms a little bit. I'm drinking a drink. I am just enjoying a good walk and also usually learning something on a podcast. So my brain's waking up. It's just so nice, okay? So a morning walk is huge. If you can't go on a morning walk, stretching is also really, really important. It's the same thing. It's awakening your muscles, it's awakening your body without this high impact workout. And if the morning is the only time that you have in order to move your body or get a workout in, strength training can happen here. But when I say strength training, I'm not meaning what you're probably thinking of, like the gym bro who's like throwing the plate on the ground and like, oh, I did that. Yeah, let's go. Or like the blaring rap music. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm talking about. Strength training. I mean, even if you are lifting heavy weights, if you are bench pressing or doing squats or cable machines or dumbbells, whatever that looks like for you, it's slow, steady movements that are controlled and that awaken the muscles without throwing yourself over the deep end in spiking your cortisol. So you can do that. I highly suggest, I will say this until the day I die, the app Fit On. I recommend this to literally everybody I possibly can. It is such a good app. There are so many free workouts on there. Whether it is strength training, yoga classes, Pilates. I love the Pilates workouts. You can do them at home. They're so relaxing. I mute mine. I don't listen. I've gotten to the point where I don't need to listen because I do, like, I have like a set group of workouts that I do and I rotate through them. And I will either turn on some music or I'll just kind of do it in silent and listen to my body breathe and try to feel the muscles. So as I'm working the muscles, I'll try to feel them. It's really grounding and it's really nice. And then lastly, let's say, like, if you haven't listened to the cycle syncing episode, highly suggest it because it's so good. But let's say you're doing something like the cycle syncing and you're on your menstrual phase, even just taking some time to cross your legs and meditate and focus on the breath work and thanking God for just the air in your lungs, the muscles in your body, kind of doing some of that, it's so beneficial. And those are just small movement things that you can be doing that really, really will help you to awaken your body without a cortisol spike. And that's what we're trying to do. So, that's super helpful. A couple other small little things that I highly suggest is a consistent wake up time. Um, like I said, so 5 a.m. club, the book changed my life. Matt, my husband, he wakes up at 5 a.m. every single morning. He was really consistent about it. For me, a lot of what I do is needs to be in natural light. Like I film a lot of my morning routine. I also love to read before bed, where Matt can lay in bed and like fall asleep in like 2 seconds flat, where I like need a little more unwind time, so it takes me a little longer to fall asleep. And with that being said, I wake up at 6 a.m. every morning. So I wake up a little bit later. I did the 5 a.m. for a little bit, but I found myself super bored because I didn't want to go on a walk when it was pitch black. And I would do my Bible study, but then I had like 45 minutes before there was even a hint of light outside this summer. So I adjusted and I now wake up at 6 a.m. every morning. It's perfect for me. It's absolutely amazing, but it's consistent. So even if you want to wake up at 8 a.m. every day, finding a consistent time that your body can regulate with and it knows what that time is, huge. So helpful. I'm also really, really picky about the blue light intake. I try really hard about this. So we have red lights only in our bedroom. So easy to do. You literally just get red light bulbs. You can order them on Amazon. I think a pack of two is like $10. And we changed out all the light bulbs in our bedroom. So we only have red light in our bedroom. And this means that every time we start to wind down, and whether that means we're reading or we're doing brushing our teeth, whatever, we're only using red light. It's been such a game changer. It helps your body naturally come down and relax. We have no TV in our bedroom, absolutely none. So we do not have like any sort of TV or like noise or stimulus right before bed. The only thing that we have are our Kindles, and we keep those on dark mode. So again, no blue light coming in at all. And it's just really, really calming for your eyes. It helps you relax. And that's been super helpful because in the morning, then you're set. And the same thing, I do not go on my phone at all in the morning because in my mind, that I could be sleeping until 7. So if I was asleep till 7 and you couldn't get a hold of me, that's no different than me being awake until 7 and you still can't get a hold of me. So I have nothing to do with my phone at all in the morning. I wake up with the hatch alarm clock. I have birds that wake me up, so it's like little chirping birds. Matt has chimes that he wakes up to, and it's a natural light that wakes us up, so it's like a sunrise. I love my hatch alarm. Highly suggest it. It does not spike my cortisol, and it's been huge. So I wake up, get up out of bed, go across the room to turn off the birds that are chirping, and then I go into the bathroom. I will take out my retainer. I wear a grinding retainer at night because I grind my teeth really bad due to stress, but we're working on it. And then I splash my face with a little bit of water, take a few deep breaths, and then I will grab my water, my leftover water from that night, and drink as much as possible, go and refill it, and then I sit down to do my Bible study. My Bible study usually lasts around 30 minutes. So by this time it's like 6:40ish. Matt has finished his workout for the morning because again, he was up at 5 and he's done his workout and Bible study. So usually we'll take a few minutes to just kind of talk and hang out, and that's around 7. At that point, I'm ready to start moving. I will make my protein shake and I will go get ready to go on my 2-mile walk. I get back, it's like 7:30ish. I make my bed, I will get ready for the day, and it's just been this like slow morning that hasn't been super high pressure. I do my workouts in the afternoon after work because I like a little bit of a release after sitting all day or walking. I'm getting a walking pad for work. It's just so exciting. But anyways, I like to do my workouts later, so I don't have to worry about that. And it's incredible what this morning routine has done for me. And it's not so high pressure where there's 30 million steps that I have to take. In fact, I actually removed a lot of steps. I removed a lot of things from my morning routine because I did not want that pressure on myself. I didn't want that spike of cortisol. So this has been huge for me. I feel so much more level headed going into the workday or whatever I'm facing that day. I feel so much more productive. I have craved this now. I crave my mornings like this. And it's more fun than to go get a cup of coffee at like 10 a.m. as a little break in your morning versus starting your day with it and then craving another pick me up later in the day. So, anyways, I hope this was helpful. I really do think that this has been a massive game changer for me. Honestly, it's been really cool to see how I interact with people, even. It's different. And a low cortisol morning, I think, could really change a lot for you. So, if you guys want more tips or helpful ideas when it comes to this, just let me know. And let's do this together. We're going to lower our cortisol, lower our stress hormone, and we're just going to go back to a place of existing peacefully versus forcing ourselves to do things that maybe we don't even want to do. Love you guys so much, and I'll see you next week.